Okay, good morning. I'm here with Michelle Lux of Howard Hanna Mortgage or Hanna Financial, and she is going to introduce herself, tell a little bit about herself before we start getting into our Q&A for the day. So, Michelle, if you'd like to give a little background on yourself, that'd be great.
Great. Thanks, Jaunae. Thanks for inviting me to have this little question and answer time period. So my name is Michelle Lux, and I have been with Howard Hanna Mortgage for about 21 years now. I've been in the lending business close to 30, and I've always worked for mortgage brokers and bankers. And I think I have a great assessment on what the different options are for mortgage banking and first-time buyers, repeat home buyers, etc. So hopefully today's question and answer time will help buyers understand what's available out there and let people know home ownership is very affordable.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, that's awesome. I always get asked the question, how much do I need to put down? Because people seem to automatically assume that they have to put 20% down. That typically, when I work with first time home buyers, they always have that number in their head. So if you could speak to that, I would really appreciate that. And I think that especially first time home buyers.
Yeah, so it is so interesting that the number one reason that people don't purchase homes as early as they should is because they feel like home ownership down payment requirements are an obstacle. So that is some information that's out there that is not correct. So there are tons of programs available for first-time home buyers, and we'll talk specifically about first-time home buyers right now. Uh, the state of Ohio, the Ohio Housing Finance Agency, has several different down payment assistance programs, and many of the states across the country are the same. We offer partnerships through the state of Ohio that allow people to get in with as low as a 0.5% for a down payment, which is just crazy. There's down payment assistance, there's closing cost assistance. So don't let home ownership and the scary part of 20% down sway you, because that is not an accurate statement.
Okay, awesome. So you kind of touched a little bit on my next question, which was, are there down payment assistance programs available in Ohio? So I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit
Sure.
more. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll go back to the beginning of that. So regarding down payment, so we've talked a little bit about first-time home buyers, and they can get in again with as little as a 0.5% of the down payment. But we also have repeat home buyer options too. So just because someone has owned a home in the past doesn't mean that they can't get in with a lower down payment. If you have owned a home in the past, you can get in with as low as 3% down. So again, first-time home buyers, lots of down payment assistance. Even if you have been a previous homeowner, still very low amounts that you need to put for the down payment.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. That probably helps enlighten a lot of people because people are just not aware of a lot of these programs. So going hand in hand with, you know, being a little intimidated by the whole pre-approval process. I know a lot of first-time buyers, especially, are like, "Well, what are they going to ask me when I talk to them, or what do I need?" So, if you could just tell us kind of what you're looking for as far as documents from them,
Mhm.
and a lot of times people say, "What should my credit score be?" And I know it varies, but if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So yeah, it is intimidating, I'm sure, when you're kind of quote unquote undressing your financial self in front of somebody that you've never met before. But everyone always tells us that the process with us is easy and was not stressful at all. And that's really what we try to make of it. We try to have people relax. Doing your pre-approval as far in advance is great, because if you do have issues that come up during the pre-approval, we're not the kind of lender that just says, we'll see you later, you don't fit within the affordability factor. We'll help you get your credit score straightened out. We'll tell you maybe what debt you need to pay off, maybe how much more money you need to save for closing costs or whatnot. So the sooner you do that program, the process of pre-approval, the better. So what we're going to look for is we're going to want a current pay stub from buyers to show what they're making at their job. We also need to document a 2-year history, not necessarily in that same job, but a 2-year history either in school or in work. And a lot of people think when they graduate from college that they have to be in a job 2 years before they can get employment. And that's not the case. We will actually use your previous employment being school, your college, trade school, whatnot, as previous employment. So that's what we'll look for. We'll also take a peek at bank statements, looking to see how much you've accumulated in savings. Again, there's gift money that we can talk about down the road and maybe some other segments, but there's all different things that we'll look for as far as assets go. So the beginning stages are we pull credit, we look at income, and we look at your assets.
Okay, thank you. That was a very complete answer because it touched on so many different things that I hear real buyers ask me all the time. So I appreciate that. I have a couple of more questions. So I know that a lot of times in our industry, we say you could probably have some buyers buy or purchase a home for less than it costs to rent. And I
Mhm.
was just wondering if you could share how often you might run into that or if you have
Sure.
run into that.
Yeah, so if you're looking at any of the real estate blogs, and I know a lot of our first-time home buyers are very much savvy into investigating and reading up on things before they actually make the plunge, buyer affordability has never been higher. Interest rates are at historic lows. Every interest rate right now starts with a 2, and then it's got a digit after it. So to be able to qualify for mortgages, that's never been an easier thing to do. You don't need an 800 credit score. You can have credit scores down into the lower 600s. So if you take and mirror those together, affordability has never been better. I just met this morning with a client, and she purchased a home for 100,000, and her monthly payment with taxes, insurance, everything that she would pay monthly was about $700 a month.
Wow.
So, and if you equate that into looking at what rent is available for, I mean, I think you'd be very hard pressed to find a home to rent for that amount. So I think when you're, especially in Northeast Ohio, one of the things people don't realize is Northeast Ohio has one of the highest rental percentages. People pay more to rent in Northeast Ohio than they do in a lot of different localities. So that's another way that home buying actually, it's so much better to buy, so much less expensive.
I agree. Thank you for that because I'm actually, a lot of times having conversations with buyers about that very thing. And it's good that you pointed out in Northeast Ohio, it costs more to rent
Mhm.
um, for so many more people than it does to purchase. I mean, $100,000 for about $700 a month is way less than you're going to
Yeah,
typically pay for something comparable to rent. So
right. Yeah.
that's great information. And then I have one final question, and I'll let you go
Yes,
because I
sure.
know you're a very busy lady. So, how long does it typically take to close on a home from start? Once the loan application is complete, once they're under contract, and then until actual closing.
Sure. So our average closing time is about 35 to 40 days. Sometimes it could be a little less than that. Sometimes it can be a little more than that. It really depends. The buyer and the seller, as you know, Jaunae, when you sit down and write the contract, they're putting together the closing dates that work. So we will take that contract, and that becomes basically our marching orders to get to the closing table. But we see about an average of 35 days from beginning to end.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. I look forward to having more conversations with you, more question and answer sessions that will help first time buyers, second time buyers, and maybe even help some sellers. So,
Yes,
your
awesome.
knowledge and expertise is invaluable. And I am so grateful to have this conversation. And I will let you get on with your day.
All right. Thanks, Janae. I appreciate it.
All
Talk to you
right.
soon.
Okay. Thanks, Michelle.
Mhm. See ya.